about my project and my channel. I did write a blog on Introverted Intuition a long time ago, so that will be down below in the description. You can go get that at www.INTJEquation.com. Also, I do a podcast, which you can find on his YouTube channel here, so please check that out. Hopefully, I will get that on another platform where it's a little more convenient for people. Also, we have a Discord server and a subreddit. The links for that will be down below, so go ahead and join that. If it is NI is Introverted Intuition, and it's what INTJs and INFJs lead by. It's their dominant function. It's the rarest dominant function. INTJs make up 1-2%, just depending on who you ask. I'm sure a lot of them are mistyped. INFJs, INTJs are probably the most mistyped of all the types. And INFJs are probably anywhere from 0.5% to 1.5–2% of the population. Again, calculating mistypes and stuff in there. NI is probably one of the most mysterious and hard to explain of the cognitive functions. NI DOMs, which are INTJs, INFJs, are the rarest of the types. For some reason, I'm sure that's just a matter of balance. NI DOMs are kind of, I guess, like the trailblazers of society, or ideally they're supposed to be. Bringing in new ideas, new concepts, new changes for society. Of course, that doesn't always happen. I think just because NI DOMs are kind of suppressed, and we're encouraged to suppress our NI. So I think that's a problem with modern Western society. But introverted intuition is subconsciously taking in data. We're always just taking in things around us, sights, sounds, smells, and we're kind of just storing it in our brains for what may be prevalent in the present or the future. We're always looking for meaning behind things. We want to look and see how everything is connected, and everything is intrinsically connected in one way or another. It thinks in patterns, it thinks in symbols. It's kind of like tied to what photographic memory is. I think everybody has some form of photographic memory, but NI users, I think it's more prevalent in, because we do think in images a lot of the times. We often extrapolate data that we've seen in the present or the past, and we bring it for the present or the future. Like I might hear something mundane I heard in the second grade, and I'll think to myself, this is something that'll be important in the future. It's pretty stupid to remember now, but then 30 years down the road, I'll remember that, and just by what somebody said, and it's relevant to the situation. So it works very oddly. It gives us these like epiphanies, these serendipitous moments where we just know it's right. We go off hunches. NI often allows us to go and perceive things that we received from the past. Like I would remember something from second grade, and I would always have this hunch that like I would need this for the future for some reason. This little tidbit of what seemed to be useless information is going to be useful for some reason, and I would just have like this deja vu moment, this epiphany when somebody says something, and I would remember what I heard back when I was like 6 or 7 in the second grade, and it would just apply to the situation. It's really odd. NI allows us to envision our own futures. NI users like INTJs, INFJs, they kind of often daydream. They look into their future and kind of figure out like what they want to do, or even just have these grandiose ideas. That's kind of like why we're always in la la land a lot of the times. We're not really paying attention. We're kind of just stuck in our own head. A lot of NI dominants, INFJs, INTJs are kind of in their head all the time. We're in a daydream state all the time. That's kind of our go-to. We're always just by ourselves. I think that's one reason why we can be so introverted. If we don't allow ourselves to have time where we can just speculate on things and daydream, that kind of wears us out. So like I said, we're not encouraged to do that sort of thing, but it's just something that we need time to do. So it's kind of our way to recharge. NI users, like I said, they can kind of foresee their own future. It's about what we want, what we desire, what we're passionate about. And that often takes us time to find out what that is, because it's very niche. It can be very niche to ourselves, and it's something that we have to bring out into the world and give to everybody else. Often when we try to explain our ideas to people, people see them as crazy or far-fetched. And this encourages INTJs and INFJs not to share what's on their mind or what they're really passionate about. So that kind of leads us to very deep, unhealthy introversion, I think, at times. is something that people will often knock, but it's something that just hasn't been created yet. So I guess you can't really blame other people for thinking that we're crazy. I mean, like one NI-DOM can't see the intuitions of another NI-DOM. Like what I envision in my head is exclusively for me. Maybe you can argue and any user can kind of pick up on that a little bit and kind of give us ideas to go off, because we often just want to think about one thing, focus on one thing at a time. And I think that's what's great about any users. It kind of gives us more options. It gives us more possibility. And so when we try to explain our ideas, a lot of times people dismiss us as crazy or unrealistic, and I think that discourages us a lot, because NIs in Western society especially is not very people don't really encourage it, I guess you could say. Kind of, it's something that we have to repress because society just doesn't understand it. It's kind of like more on the metaphysical side, I think, in a lot of ways. It's about wanting things also. NI is about wanting things. Like NI users, they want a lot of things. They desire, it's about passion. A lot of times we can want the wrong things. We can get kind of caught up in the materialistic side of things, like, oh, I want a new Corvette or Ferrari or Harley or something like that. And we kind of just work and get towards those things. But it really should be about goals. What should we should be getting the things that we want out of life, not really the things we want in life, if that makes any sense. And I think a lot of NI is like photographic memory. I think everybody has some photographic memory within them. I don't really think it's that extraordinary of a thing like people think, but NI users often think in images and patterns. That's kind of like the patterns and images and symbols that we see. So like images will pop into our mind. But for me, like my NI is also like a guiding voice. It's a voice that sounds kind of like my own voice, but it's a little more faint, a little deeper, I guess you could say. And it kind of guides me in what's going right or wrong. If I'm on the right path, it definitely lets me know. But sometimes I'm like my shadow's working against me, and my NI leads me to making the wrong decision. It makes me feel like it's the right decision, but it ends up being wrong. And the reason for that is because it teaches me lessons, and these lessons that we need to learn to grow. It's also on, NI is also on axis with SE. So like NI DOMs, they have NI hero. They're always going to have SE inferior. So NI users are kind of more in their head, and SE users are more about the present moment and acting now. So an NI user who's an NI DOM is going to feel really insecure about acting in the present moment, worried about giving people a bad time, a bad experience, looking, sounding, smelling bad. It could be a whole variety of things that we just don't take action, and we're always stuck in our head. So we don't want to take action, where an SE user is really insecure about their own future. So they really just kind of act on impulse, and they don't think about the implications of their consequences. One interesting thing, some research by Dario Nardi, actually have his book right here. I was just reviewing it. Neuroscience of Psychology. He did EEG scans on the brains and found and interviewed each person and found people by their dominant functions. Like, for example, NI DOMs, when they're using their brain for troubleshooting things that they're not familiar with, their whole neocortex lines up. The neocortex is like the outside of the brain, the stuff that kind of looks like the ground beef. When we're trying to figure out a problem that we don't know, we utilize more of our brain, while other users of other functions kind of use different parts of their brains. But almost all types use the whole neocortex when they're using it for their expertise, like if somebody's a mechanic. So NI users use things to tackle things that they don't know, and their whole neocortex lights up, so they're utilizing more parts of their brains, where people of other types, they utilize it when they're doing something that they're expert in. They built all the neural pathways that link to it, where they can, like when you try something new, you're building new neural pathways, and that's what the growth is. And when you practice, you get better, and those neural pathways are stronger. So NI users, for whatever reason, they use more sides of their brain, more parts of their brain to figure out things that they don't know. And I think this is what can lead NI users to burnout. Like NI DOMs, INTJs, INFJs, they could get burnt out so easy. I think when we're trying to do things that we can't figure out, we're just giving it all. I think NI DOMs are very all or nothing people. So we're just giving everything we have physically, mentally, emotionally, then we just get exhausted and we just need more breaks. So I hope this describes a NI in a decent manner. Please consider liking, sharing, subscribing below. Thank you for going on Clickbait. Also join our Discord server. We have a subreddit and add me on social media. Thank you and have a good day.